Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. Let's jump right into it. We're making 3D models using SketchUp, and we're going to talk a little bit about Nubian pyramids. So this tutorial is specifically on how to make a Nubian pyramid, but the thing is you can make a lot of different things with those simple shapes. We're mainly dealing with rectangles, squares, and triangles here. And so you can combine and recombine these shapes, and now that you can create them, you are able to build whatever you want on SketchUp, mostly. So thanks for joining me. Let's jump right into it. So when you first open up SketchUp, you end up with something like this. It's a little weird, but you have a lot of options here, and we're going to cover them later. But right now we're just going to stick to making 3D models. Template. All right, so we need to start somewhere. Pick a place to start. Since we're dealing with something that could be potentially 3D printed, I want to, I would like to work with millimeters. We could go straight to the 3D printing. Here you can specify what kind of printer you have access to and create the workspace, and it's very useful in that regard. But I am not, let's not get into that right this moment, but we can stick to interior and production design in millimeters. We can start that. The thing about millimeters is that it is a lot easier to deal with because you don't need to convert anything to put on in a slicer, in a software made specifically for 3D printing that slices objects, and they calculate the layers, each layer with millimeters to be very precise. So speaking the same language, especially in units, will save you a lot of time, and it's a lot more advisable. Now let's concentrate on, this is the end product. I know it's very simple, really interesting pyramid. Oh, and there's a giant right outside. And we just need, we can get rid of her. Sorry, Mrs. Boop. So by doing that, I just selected it and pressed delete. That's all I did. And then now we can use the H key, the camera, to go back to where we were, like that. And then we can use the letter O to orbit or rotate around our object. Now I am going to do something. I'm gonna go over here, and I'm gonna replicate this pyramid from scratch. So notice that as I'm making a square, I can go over here on the bottom right corner, and I can specify exactly the size of my square. So let's do 40 by 40 millimeters, right? 40 by 40 millimeters. Let's leave it at that, and then press return or enter. Great. Now let's press O and rotate around and see. Great. So this is a crucial step to making any sort of pyramidal structure. And then also something to really be careful with are these little pop-up messages that come up when you hit something that is important, like such as an endpoint. If they don't come up, then you're in the wrong place. Okay, so make sure that you have, for example, right now, the word endpoint coming out of that little helper window that pops up when you hit there. and then it kind of just clicks together. See, if it's right here and it says on edge, it's like, okay, you're on the path, but it's not the point. We need to find the point, end point, the corner. And then we're going to do another one from that end point to this end point. You see where this is going? It's about to turn into a pyramid, right? Now, just make sure that it's actually going to go the right direction when we pull this up. I make a blue on the blue axis, right? This is very important because the blue axis, and to get rid of this, you press escape. The blue axis is right here. It's the height of something. Let me see. Okay, see this line here? I don't know if you can see it as blue, but it's blue, and it controls the height of any object in here, right? The red is kind of like the X, and then green is kind of like the depth, like Z or something. So now we use a really amazing tool, is the move tool, or copy, move or copy tool. And then now pay attention that you're not moving or copying any surface. You're going straight for the point, the end point, the point where the two lines intersect. And then there you go. Let's go back. Let's do that again. So end point, now that we have this guide that is perfectly parallel to the blue axis, you can go up and see, but here we're gonna move it, right? It gets distorted, so that doesn't work very well, but you should be able to see at all times that you're doing this. It's actually not hard. The program kind of snaps it into place, and then you can use the dotted blue line that is coming from the bottom, from the middle point where those two lines were converging, going straight up parallel to the y-axis, okay? You can also determine the length of that extrusion. Okay, let's put, if I put 40, it's going to be more like, it's like one side of the, this is a good ratio for a Nubian pyramid. All right, so now we're going to do probably the most labor-intensive part. And first we got to find the middle point in here. Oh, it found it, right? So quick, right? So quick. And then we're going to go up about, this line needs to be purple. Why is it purple? Because it's on the surface. So it's not parallel to any, of the axes, but it is in fact parallel to the surface that it's touching. Now we're going to go over here 3 millimeters from the point, and then we're going to go down, and then we get that purple line again to down 7.2. So we did, what is this, 3? Let's go 3 again here. We're making this door from the middle point. This is, so this is going to be our door. We're going to erase this eventually. In fact, we can do it now. That path, boom. Now, we can have this, so we need to make sure that this line is red, right? Because it needs to be parallel to the red axis. That's very important. Let's get the O here, orbit, and then just a better place to see things. Great, and then the hand with an H allows us to really see what's going on. All right, so I have the red axis here in frame, and I get the pencil tool, the line tool, and I'm gonna extrude this to about 4 millimeters, okay? The cool thing is that it kind of snaps there, which is amazing because that is straight parallel to this point. So in that way, SketchUp is really amazing program. I mean, it might look a little, let's say, raw, but it really is an amazing program. So if this happens, see, it's really gathering all the information from this point, which is not ideal, but we know that that point is parallel to the point that we want to merge with. And in fact, we can go to the end point and back, and it will basically remind you, look, you're at the right height. We think that you're at the right height. The program thinks that you're in the right height. Just enjoy its precision. And then boom. And then this was red, which means it was exactly parallel to the red axis. And the same thing here. This one needs to be parallel to the blue axis, so the line is going to be blue. And then that line is going to be red again. Great. And this one, who can figure out, is green. Yeah, green. And that, when we finish that line right there, we are going to see an enclosure of the entire atrium of the pyramid. So now we're going to do the same thing because we're making a door here. We're going to use the same midpoint. Okay, the same method that we used to make the doorway into the pyramid. We're going to into the period. Now we're going to make a door outside the doorway. So let's go here. Let's make this. This needs to be dotted line with a blue line, not a dotted line, a blue line on the face. See, on the face, because the face is exactly parallel to the y-axis. And then we're going to do this. And then now, let's be conservative about this. 1.5. Great. It might look distorted, but it's actually not. Right? Then, what is this again? 1.5, 1.5, and then we go down here. Great. Now, let's delete this. It's not French doors we want. We want nice Nubian doors. And now we can go and stylize a little bit what's happening here. Okay, that was parallel. Let's make that square there. Once we make that square, we know pretty much. Now I'm going to change the angle a little bit because I want to match that. And that means I have to go, what? 0.5 from the end. Okay, so escape, 0.5. And I'm finding all these numbers in the bottom right corner, right? Length 0.5 millimeters, okay? Now that I have a point there, boom, just make sure the line is blue by the time you get it all the way down there and finish the line. So now, because these lines were dissected by other lines, they automatically become lines that separate paths, right? So now I'm just going to delete this because we don't need this anymore. It was just to make sure it was square and in the center. And now because we deleted all of those partitions, we now have a solid shape here around the door that we can use to make the frame, the door frame. And this tool that is amazing. This tool is the push-pull tool. You can press P, and you get it. And now we need a different angle. So let's go like this, because we're talking about pushing or pulling this out, I think this is good. Yep, there you go. You have your Nubian pyramid. Now that you can make a pyramid, basically, and a doorway on SketchUp, you can make a lot more stuff. And I would love for you to, if you liked it, if you think it was informative, if you think you can benefit from this in any way, please do the thumbs up thing, or subscribe, or do something, or whatever. Thanks.